So up there is the south-facing Holm Oak mono forest, owned by the National Trust on Ventnor Downs. And either side of that, you've got Combe Bottom on the left-hand side, kind of west end, and then Luckham Down, I think, on the east end. Both of which are very high quality, species rich, really old chalk grassland. Zoom in a little bit. Yeah, you can see the open downland over there to the east on the right hand side. Coming through, there's the Holm Oak forest, and then there's Combe Bottom on the kind of west to left side, species rich chalk grassland. So the suggestion I have is to break up this continuous canopy of Holm Oaks and create a kind of a Holm Oak chalk grassland savanna. Basically a more open transition between the open chalk grasslands there with a denser central core, and then a more open savanna type transition into open chalk grassland at the east end as well. And that would just diversify this really nice south-facing slope. Great potential for increasing the amount of chalk grassland without losing the kind of the Holm Oak forest component, which I assume is valued by the National Trust, but it's all owned by the National Trust. Yeah, so just a suggestion. I would do it over decades, not an instant project. You could do it very quickly, but I would suggest gradually ring barking some of those oaks, Holm Oaks, and maybe removing some of the canopy after they've died. But nobody goes up into that Holm Oak forest because it's very inaccessible, incredibly steep slope. In terms of longer term management, there must be a way of enabling the goats that browse at either end. They browse in Combe Bottom and they browse over on, I think it's Luckham Down, on the east side. So if you can enable the goats to move through the Holm Oak forest as well, they ought to maintain the more open savanna type habitat. It's kind of wood pasture, chalk savanna type habitat you'd create if you opened up the canopy selectively over a couple of decades. It's worth noting that underneath that canopy it's just bare ground, bare chalk in a lot of places, because it's densely shaded out by Holm Oaks, and there's a layer of Holm Oak leaf litter. The Holm Oak leaves don't tend to rot that quickly. Yeah, so that's a suggestion.